Straight to my fantastic expert panel, Natalie Thomas, Deputy News Director, Us Weekly, Sharon Liko, family lawyer, criminal defense attorney, Brenda Wade, clinical psychologist. Natalie, before we get into all of this, there are also conflicting reports out there of Kate buying a single gal pad in Maryland, close to her bodyguard. What can you tell us?
Yes, there are reports. One outlet in particular was reporting that she is looking to buy, or actually that she did buy, an apartment in Rockville, Maryland, which is very close to her ex-bodyguard and former, reported flame, Steve Neild. However, we have not been able to confirm that, and sources are telling us that she has not bought anything, and that some are speculating that because of the custody dispute that is upcoming, that she does not want to be far away from her kids. She doesn't know how that would look, so she's not doing anything right yet. She's kind of staying with friends in Maryland, staying with people in Pennsylvania, and kind of flipping around, but hasn't really bought anything at this point.
Yeah, and Brenda Wade, clinical psychologist, all of this stuff happening, and these kids have done this TV with the camera in their faces.
Right.
Do you agree with the aunt and uncle that this could be affecting them psychologically and emotionally?
There's no question, Jane, that it's affecting them. 51% of our families, just like Jon and Kate, go through divorce, and we know that your subconscious mind is 50% formed by the time you're 4 years old. So what are these children taking in? They're taking in long-term instability patterns. This is trauma for children, and children need to be considered at a time like this, absolutely what that family member said, in crisis. These kids, we know this for a fact, will grow up with more health issues, money issues, problems in relationship, without a doubt.
Well, let's hope
Yes.
not. I mean, let's hope they're
well, it
the
takes
exception.
work
But
to avoid
TLC
it, Jane.
says the new episodes of Jon and Kate Plus 8 document the Goslins separately parenting their 8 kids. Let's look at Kate dealing with the new single mom situation. Listen.
It is not their fault that what has transpired, and it is my new attitude that I am going to do things I have never done before. I have to. I just put a screen in a window for the first time in my life. Not happy about it.
Sharon Liko, what about these reports that the show will not include Jon's dating, or presumably Kate's for that matter? I mean, what kind of phony baloney reality is that? And we have to say TLC is not commenting. But if it is true, how can they call it a reality show?
Well, they can't, because this is a country, we are the divorce capital of the world.
Yes.
There are families that are broken up all the time. I think this scenario is just perfect. I mean, it's perfect for the U.S. to look at in a microscopic fashion what happens to people.
Wait, are you saying it's a good idea that they have this reality show and that it's their divorce is splayed out for the world to see?
Sure, it's reality. I mean, isn't that what the purpose of the show is?
Yeah, but if it's not going to be all the reality, if it's just going to limit it and we won't see the dating, then can you say it's reality? Is that
well, there's a problem,
Well,
Jane.
it is reality. It's just limiting the dating portions of it.
All right.
I do this kind of stuff all the time.
I'm sure you do. Hang on, fantastic panel. We'll be back with more on Jon and Kate Plus 8 in a moment.
Everyone wants to know everything about us, and I feel like this is a situation where, you can't believe everything that you read. You know that, I know that. And so we are dealing with it privately.
Sorry, Kate, you took the check. It's big cash. You are on a reality show. Does Kate have a chance at ever being a private person while TLC's cameras remain in her home? Back to my expert panel, Natalie Thomas, Deputy News Director, Us Weekly. You cover celebrity. Is this a reality show if they're not going to include the dating? Are they trying to have it both ways? They don't want to be celebrities, but they want the reality show. They want to keep the show going even though they're getting divorced, but they don't want to include the dating.
Jon and Kate absolutely want to have it both ways. Their statements are even contradictory at times. We see this a lot with newfound celebrities. They welcome the endorsements and the money and the photos in the magazines, and then when it turns a little negative and they are doing a reality show, they want no part of it. But
I have to say that it is terribly traumatic for children to see parents dating. The rule is no dating within the first year. after a divorce.
Well,
they're breaking all the rules.
Obviously, that rule is not being followed in this
They're breaking
case.
the rules, and the kids are the ones that are going to suffer for it.
If
But
I
who
may
makes
interject,
those rules?
Jane?
I mean, that's a rule. It's not handed down from on high. It's a rule somebody made up, and you've been.
Well, it's a rule because we know that when children get a chance to stabilize and parents actually work through what happened, which Jon and Kate are not doing, they've just rushed on to the next warm body. There's no insight. There's no growth here. Their kids are going to pay the price, and this is a devastating price.
Sharon Liko, could the family, the aunt and uncle, take any kind of legal action if they really believe their claim that these kids are suffering as a result of all this?
Well, they could file for parental responsibility, but I don't know that they would get that far. There's no abuse. There's no neglect. I mean, this is a reality
How do you know
show.
that?
Well, nobody has come and made any kind of claim, so one has to assume, because if there was, I'm sure somebody would be
blatant
shouting.
Abuse. Natalie Thomas, what we're talking about here is the cumulative impact of having the cameras in your face to this extent.
Absolutely. And the kids, you know, we can only assume, as you point out, that they are going to suffer, and what we talked about earlier. But I do want to point out that we are hearing at Us Weekly that they will show Jon and Kate and their dating life on the show. I know there have been contrary reports, but we are hearing that they plan to address that, like they did they led up to their much publicized divorce. They even did teasers to it. So that is a portion of the show they will cover.
Brenda Wade, there's a cautionary tale here in my book.
Yes.
The irresponsibility of having 8 kids in today's world, where around the globe there are children suffering from malnutrition and starvation.
Yes.
Millions of kids who end up orphaned
Good
all
point,
over the
Jane.
globe. They're having 8
yes.
kids, and then they get divorced, and then they're not even living in the
And
same
Jane,
state.
this is why I have made divorce the #1 issue I'm addressing. I want to cut the divorce rate in half by the year 2015 because of what happens to children. You know, I always
I want
have
to cut
free.
the number of children.
I
that
have a
people are
free
having
love
in
lesson
half.
on my
How can you
website
cut
for that
the
reason.
divorce rate in half? I
Well,
mean,
parents
there's
need
no,
more
there's no
support.
magic bullet.
Even parents with 1 or 2 kids need support, and we don't have enough support. We don't have enough training on how to be married and have a healthy marriage.
Actually, I disagree with you.
I'm
because
sure you
this
do.
Is, this
We've
is
got to
a
go.
perfect
But
example.
we will
what the
start this
US
argument again another time.
population can
I
learn
promise
from
you.
this.
You're watching
I mean, this
Issues
happens all
on
the time.
HLN.
You have people that are getting divorced.